So since we constructed this chicken house, I can see that we already have very positive results. You can see our local chickens right here on the farm. The number is increasing. Look at them. So the birds have been eating kale. We grew quite an amount of kale on the farm, which we cannot finish consuming. So we give all the leftover kale to the chickens, and you guys can see it. You know, you can see the chickens trying to bend down and pick it. This is what the kale looks like. This is what the kale looks like, and the chickens are clearly enjoying them. After we built this chicken house is around 14 meters by 4 meters. But we cut off 4 meters in order to be using it to care for the day-old baby chicks. So ideally we have 4 meters by 10 meters which we can actually use. That's around 40 square meters. That means that can keep a maximum of around 240 birds if we are to keep them on an intense system. In actuality, we can keep 400 birds in there because the plan is to let the birds out to move around and everything. But already we have local chickens, and the local chickens, the number is already growing, guys. I found out that when you separate the baby chicks and their mothers and you just take good care of them for just even a week, 1 or 2 weeks, that's enough to increase their survival rate very greatly. So guys, you guys saw from one of my last videos that I had isolated the mothers and their baby chicks in one small house. I let them out, and most of them are actually surviving right now. And you can see that the number of chickens on the farm is increasing. In the background, you guys can see a chicken house, and that's a chicken house that we've actually just built. It's another chicken house, not the one that you guys had seen earlier on. So it's not this over here, yeah? This is another chicken house. And you might be thinking, whoa, Daniel, you're going too fast. Well, it's okay. Speed kills, but I think this is good speed. Really good speed. So after we had put up this first chicken house, we noticed that we want to keep inside here at least 500 dual-purpose birds that we can use for consumption, for meat on the farm, for the work on the farm, and then, you know, to be able to experiment with different things that we want to do on the farm. We also have guinea fowls that you guys have already seen that we have actually just hatched. We have the local chickens. So this small chicken house, which can accommodate a maximum of 400 birds, would never have been enough. So in a space of around 3-4 days, we actually managed to build this other house. And if you hadn't noticed, well, I'm sure today you're going to notice. Guys, I love this style of constructing chicken houses. It is so cheap, it is so quick, it is so easy. All you need to use is, you know, wooden posts from timber or anything to be supported into the ground. Use concrete or anything to support them into the ground. Put a wire mesh on the sides, and then you have iron sheets running all around very quickly. If you have enough labor force, this chicken house is actually 20 meters by 6 meters. That's quite big. This can take up to 720 birds if you're doing ideal spacing and the birds are going to stay in there full time. Really happy about it. I like this style of building. It's very obvious. But guys, the chicken house isn't ready. No, there is no wood shavings on the floor. We haven't put electricity or power inside. The place is not disinfected. There is still soil on the ground. But let me tell you of another interesting experience I've had with the day-old chick supplier. Last week or the other week, just before my birds came in, my parent stock, I had planned to get a dual-purpose breed of birds from a certain Ugandan supplier. So I go make payment because I knew that my birds are coming at exactly the same time. I wanted to brood the two lots at the same time. The dual-purpose birds and my parent stock. And both companies, you know, the vet certificates certify that the birds don't have any disease. They are really free of disease, so I didn't have a problem brooding them together. So I go to this company's offices, I make a booking for 500 birds, and then I give them a deposit, which was close to a half of the payment of the birds, and then I walk away. And then the day before the day when I'm supposed to receive the birds, they give me a call and they're like, hey, you didn't complete your payment, so your order has been pushed to a week later. And I'm like, hey, why didn't you guys tell me that? Like, I have the money. The problem was not the money. The only reason I did make a partial payment is because I understand how Ugandan systems work. You make your full payment and the birds never come. So I'm like, why didn't you let me know? They're like, well, we have too many people to call. There's no way we can call everyone to remind them to complete their payment. So since you didn't make the full payment, your birds have been pushed. And then the other thing they told me is that it's written down on the receipt. You didn't read the receipt before we gave you the receipt. I was like, okay, this is really interesting. I should have been told this, at least verbally. No one did make a verbal communication about it. It was on the receipt, but you know, it was a receipt. Everyone just picks the receipt and puts it in their pocket. And I was like, okay, it's fine, cool. Let's push it to next week. So then I knew that I couldn't brood my bird together, the parent stock and these dual purpose birds, because I had to brood them together and separate them after maybe 2 or 3 weeks. That gave me time because this structure was still being constructed. So I knew that I have, you know, a few days to get the wood shavings in, to try to sterilize the place, to get the power in. And then yesterday, which is actually 3 days earlier than I'm expecting to pick the birds, these guys called me up. That's like at 2 p.m. And guys, I'm really far away. I'm probably like 100 kilometers away from Kampala, where the birds are to be picked from. And they're like, hey, is this Daniel? I'm like, yeah, this is Daniel. Well, the birds are on their way. You should be there to pick them at 4 p.m. And I'm like, what the? Guys, here I was trying to focus on the parent stock, you know, making sure the brooding is going on well, supervising my workers on the farm. And then someone gives me a call and they're like, hey, come and pick the birds up. The brooder house that I thought I was going to brood in has soil on the ground, guys. Soil, not even concrete, no wood shavings. The place hasn't been sterilized. I'm like, damn, I'm in trouble. Anyway, I had no option. I tell the lady and I'm like, hey, you guys are, you know, you're terrible. This is terrible communication. She's like, well, we told you that your order had been pushed by a week. I was like, yeah, it had been pushed by a week. My order was supposed to be last Friday. If it's being pushed by a week, it should be this Friday. Then the woman is like, oh, I'm sorry, but the birds are already on the way. And then she hung up on me. And I was thinking, whoa, now what do I do? If I don't go to pick the birds will just stay there and die. I didn't know what to do. So of course I had to make a makeshift brooder. Guys, let's go take a look. This is it, guys. This is it. You guys can see my chicken house, like honestly. Yeah, it's in a terrible state. Really, really terrible state. You can see that we just have soil on the ground. Just plain soil on the ground. Soil on the ground. We don't have any chicken netting on the side. And then right in the corner there, we have a room that has been separated using plastic. You know, polythene, just simple plastic. And that's what is acting as our brooder. So when I was asked to go and pick up my birds, I was thinking, hell, damn, same problem is happening again. Last time it was a delay. This time it's poor communication. I don't know why people would just fail to do business at least well. You know, just try to do one thing right. Because the last time, I think the guys who work at this place really hate me because every time I go there, I'm complaining because there's always something that's not being done right. But then I only went there because I don't have options, guys. Honestly, I don't have alternatives. You guys saw that I brought in parent stock for layers because of the hassle that I had gone through trying to get layers. You guys remember my experience. If you don't, I'll leave a link to that video right here. Very, very terrible experience. Like honestly, if you're dealing with your customers, I think you just have to deal with them correctly. This is plain and simple stuff that you need to do in business in order for you to be a success. Unfortunately, for very many of us here, we have no options, you know, because we have nowhere else to run. So I wanted dual purpose birds. I don't have the dual purpose parent stock. For the layers, at least I sorted that. I'll be able to supply myself and supply you guys, those of you who would want to order from us. But for the dual purpose parent stock, I don't have that. And we want dual purpose birds on the farm. So I had to go back to the same company I got birds from last time. Of course, this time it was a different distributor. This one, of course, didn't delay the order, which is way, way, way better than my previous experience. But it also had its hiccups. So my brooding place was certainly not ready, as you guys can see. I rushed to Kampala very, very quickly. We got the birds, got onto the farm, left some people trying to, you know, make a makeshift brooder. And whoo, the birds are in. Come on, let's go and take a look at the birds. So this is it, guys. Quite impressive that we managed to pull this off in, you know, maybe just 4 hours. So we used brooder paper. First of all, we put wood shavings on the floor. Now these wood shavings are clearly not the best. We got them from the house where the local chickens have been. And so they haven't, we tried to spray them with some disinfectant, but no, they have been used. So it was a very, very big risk that we've taken. But we put brooder paper on top of them, you know, some brooder paper on top of them to make sure that the wood shavings are not exposed. at least for the beginning, before we give the birds some vaccinations. And hopefully today or tomorrow we're going to have a delivery of wood shavings that we're going to put inside the rest of the chicken house. That way we shall just move these chickens out of here to the other section, and then we can get these wood shavings out. And then I chose to use this kind of brooders, guys. This is the kind of brooders that I had bought for the previous lot of birds, for the parent stock, but it just didn't work because the room is bigger and they just don't produce enough heat for you to be able to heat such a big room. I had bought 14 of them. I had been told that one works for 500 birds. So I considered, since I have maybe, you know, something close to 4,000 birds, I thought, well, let me go overkill. Let me do 10. 10 didn't work. I decided to add 4 to make it 14. 14 didn't work. I was like, to hell with this stuff. I'll just use, you know, my normal charcoal stoves. So I decided to bring those stoves and use them in this room. And in this room, I have 6 of them. 5 or 6 of them for the 500 birds, and that's what has actually been able to provide the heating. You guys can see that we have a plastic bag at the end, the other side. That plastic bag is actually quite a good one because it keeps the heat inside here. It kind of provides a greenhouse effect, if you guys understand what that is. Then just like the other chicken house, I used, you know, these normal round drinkers, the ones that all the chicks start out with. So I'm going to start out with these, then I'll go to the more automatic drinkers later on in life. Then we have the pan feeders. You guys can see them here. And the birds are enjoying. I like this because these birds have actually responded better to the food and the water than the parent stock, because the parent stock came from Europe, guys. The parent stock had to fly on an aeroplane. Air pressure changes, you know, those pressure changes, the fatalities are actually quite a lot. Then of course their journey is longer, it's more stressful, it's colder compared to these birds that are coming from rather close by. So these ones respond better. They are dual purpose birds, so they're going to hopefully get big. We want to experiment with them some things that I'll be sharing with you guys on the channel, you know. We want to be able to, currently we are using pellet feed, yeah, pellet feed, but we want to be able to give them as little commercial feed as possible and also let them free range around, you know, feed on the grass which is around. We'll probably give them fodder. We want to grow some fodder, hopefully from maize, because now this exact area where I am, getting barley is not as easy as my other farm. So here we shall probably use maize to be able to get fodder for the birds. So I let the birds continue doing their thing, eating. Guys, if you don't know who I am, I'm Dr. Daniel, a very passionate farmer, and I'm more skewed towards poultry farming because I even find it more interesting. So on this channel I share with you guys everything to do with poultry farming, everything you need to learn about poultry farming. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button, smash that notification bell, that way you never miss out on an upload. Ask me any questions in the comment section about poultry farming. I'll try to answer as many as I can. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Let me continue caring for the birds. I have 2 lots of birds to care for right now. Of course, right now biosecurity is even more important since I have 2 different batches of birds. So yeah, guys, I'm going to do my very best to make sure that I do this as well as possible. Otherwise, lots of love. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.